Draft 2 months away. We know that. Free agency's coming up in a few weeks. But there's a bunch of teams out there in terms of quarterbacks, and we play a little game. Do you go get a quarterback, or do you stick with what you have?
To QB or not QB? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind of Cowherd.
All right, Joy.
Jacksonville Jaguars, to QB or not to QB?
To QB. They've never had the number one pick in the draft. They haven't had a star quarterback since Mark Brunell. And Urban Meyer has a history of being really good with young quarterbacks. He worked with Alex Smith, Cam Newton in college, Joe Burrow, Tim Tebow. So you got a coach that's really good with young quarterbacks. Dwayne Haskins didn't work in the NFL, but he worked in college. So this is really an ideal fit. You got a great quarterback mentor, and this is the best college quarterback since Andrew Luck.
The Jets, to QB or not to QB?
I'll just throw it out there, not to QB. So you have the second most cap space, and if you trade the number 2 pick, you're going to get at least a second-round pick this year and a couple of firsts. So what does that give you? 2 firsts this year, 2 seconds this year, and 2 thirds. That's probably 4 starters and 2 noteworthy backups. I look at it, Joy brought up a good point. Outside of Josh Allen, could he end up being the second best quarterback in your division? Right now, he's certainly the second most talented quarterback in his athletic prime, yes.
The Dolphins, to QB or not to QB?
I would say to QB. At this point, I know it's early. I'm not saying you couldn't move Ryan Fitzpatrick. He always gets a job. But you go with Tua and you have another kid. I mean, listen, they're one of 3 teams. They have multiple first-round picks. So they can go get a quarterback and go get an offensive lineman and another receiver. So this is a team that's got plenty of picks. And first impressions matter, and I don't see a lot of it with Tua.
The Falcons, to QB or not to QB?
I kind of feel strongly about this, not to QB. So Matt Ryan's 35. Matt Ryan's coming off a good year. He's the only quarterback with 4,000-plus passing yards every year the last 9 years. Scoring's not Atlanta's problem. And the new coach, Arthur Smith, rejuvenated Ryan Tannehill's career. So you're gonna draft a quarterback, and then about 6 games into this year, you're going to be like, well, hell, Matt's playing great. He's 35. Most of us acknowledge I have him as a top 12 quarterback. Their problem is they don't have enough athletes in their defensive front 7. Go get Micah Parsons or go get a defensive player.
The Eagles, to QB or not to QB?
I'll go not to QB. So if you draft the quarterback, what you're saying is you wasted last year's second-round pick. You already butchered Carson Wentz. Just give Jalen Hurts 16 starts. And I think it's totally fair you gave him 20. 4 last year, 16 this year. And I think it's fair to say he doesn't have it or he does. I saw something. And listen, I never thought he was a great prospect, but he moves well and the world's changing. And they come in all shapes and sizes. And so I think you give him the year, you'll know by Thanksgiving. And if you know by Thanksgiving, then go out and get another quarterback.
The Detroit Lions, to QB or not to QB?
Don't QB. You got Jared Goff. You got first picks. What Jared Goff needs is what the Lions never have, a formidable offensive line. So he's got 4 years remaining on his contract, so why screw him up mentally? He already went into the tank mentally at the end of last year because he didn't feel McVay liked him. He was a number 1 pick. He's a beautiful thrower of the football. They got Kenny Galladay. He's a beautiful thrower of the football. He's not good in a muddy pocket, so draft well up front and give him time and a little bit. He's also very good when he has a running game and he can throw on play action. Him throwing footballs is not an issue. He needs love. He needs protection. He needs a little bit of a running game.
The Panthers, to QB or not to QB?
I would to QB. Listen, the word's out. Matt Rule's not into him. He's physically limited. Now, the other thing about Teddy Bridgewater, who I like, he had a knee injury in Week 10. And with Teddy, he's a little fragile. I mean, he got hurt in practice. So, years ago, and that set him back. So, Teddy's one of those guys, I think physically there's some limitations on what he can do. And there's concerns that he's not a guy that's going to last 17 games in the NFL. So, I'd probably move off it.
The Denver Broncos, to QB or not to QB?
To QB. I'm done with Drew Lock. He's too casual for me. He's not my cup of tea. I do think he's got a good arm. But worst completion percentage in the NFL among starting quarterbacks, 57%. So, I mean, Lord, that ain't close. Like, that ain't it.
The Cowboys to QB or not to QB?
Listen, if you can get Russell Wilson, go for it. You're not going to get him probably. So I would just say stay with Dak. Good guy. Try to get in the $32 million a year. If I could swap Russell Wilson, I would do it today. That's not going to happen with Dak. He's beloved by the players. And frankly, right now, this morning, he's the best quarterback in the division. Easily.
The Giants to QB or not to QB?
Give me 8 more starts. I'd say to not QB. Give me 8 more starts with Daniel Jones. Saquon Barkley was out all of last year. I did think they had a very good draft. So let's give Dave Gettleman one more draft. He's a very good athlete. He's got a fumble issue. Jason Garrett told me, we talked about this. He got better at the end of the year on it. He's playing with a little more urgency. He's a little less casual when he plays. Give me 8 more starts and I'll know.
The 49ers to QB or not to QB?
Not to QB. They've won 25% of their games when he doesn't quarterback. Let's get past this thing that he can't play. The kid can play. Now, injuries, nightmare. Draft a quarterback with your number 12 spot or move up, and then you can move off him for 1 year. But don't have a rookie start in that division.
Vikings to QB or not to QB?
Jesus. Not, I guess.
And the Patriots to QB or not to QB?
Not. Stay with Cam for a year. Defensive players come back. Draft a quarterback. He can watch Cam for a year. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.